This report followed the preliminary investigative report that the EU Disinfo Lab published in 2019. The current report exposed a highly organized and robust Indian-sponsored fake news and disinformation network operating across the globe. The network, comprising fake online media outlets and websites, sham think tanks and elected dormant NGOs, was engaged in a well-thought campaign to malign Pakistan, including at the UN and the EU. The network even resurrected dead people. Along with other capitals and cities, this network was particularly active in Brussels and Geneva in producing and peddling malicious content against Pakistan. The report notes that layers of fake media outlets, which quoted one another and republished content, was further amplified by the Asian News International, India's largest online news agency. ANI became the primary purveyor of such news. In fact, ANI served as a feeder of fake news and disinformation reports for the mainstream Indian media and publications. The report revealed that had over, as you mentioned, 750 media outlets in 116 countries, direct control over 10 NGOs accredited to the UN, more than 550 website domain names, resurrection of dead people, impersonation of EU institutions, identity theft, maximization of negative content about India's adversaries, and fake journalists. Even members of the European Parliament were ensnared into it. In its first report of 2019, the EU Disinfo Lab had exposed an online magazine, European Parliament Today, which was impersonating as official media outlet of the European Parliament. EP Today was brought down after the initial investigative reports by anti-disinformation organizations. However, according to the EU Disinfo Lab, EP Today subsequently resurfaced as EU Chronicles. The India-based Srivastava Group, under its Vice Chairman Ankit Srivastava, remains at the core of this fraudulent network. Its operations in the EU and Geneva were managed by Madhi Sharma, who used her NGO, Women's Economic and Social Think Tank, called West, as a cover. The report further revealed that the NGOs and think tanks used by India for carrying out this protracted anti-Pakistan disinformation campaign included, among others, Women Economic and Social Think Tank, South Asia Democratic Forum, International Council for Inter-Religious Cooperation, European Foundation for South Asia Studies, European Organization for Pakistani Minorities, South Asia Peace Forum, Baloch Forum, and Friends of Gilgit-Baltistan. American international law expert and human rights activist Professor Louis B. Shawn, who had passed away in 2006, was resurrected to project the Indian narrative at the Human Rights Council in 2007 and an event on Gilgit-Baltistan at Washington, D.C. in 2011. The report provides deep insights into the Indian machinations to discredit Pakistan by enticing certain members of European Parliament by using subjects such as women's rights and minority rights. Madhi Sharma and Sarivastava group organized private trips of members of the European Parliament to Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Bangladesh and Maldives, and tried to portray these private visits as official delegations of the European Parliament. Individual statements by MEPs were presented as official positions of the European Parliament and the EU. The report is yet another vindication of what Pakistan has been saying all along. India's smear campaign against Pakistan has no limits. The sole aim of this pernicious operation was to malign Pakistan on a host of issues ranging from Jammu and Kashmir dispute to terrorism, human rights, FATF, etc. Prestigious international and UN institutions were misused for nefarious Indian designs, be it ECOSOC, the UN Human Rights Council, or the European Parliament. Members of European Parliament were duped, disinformed, and unabashedly manipulated. Think tanks, researchers, and even students were used as pawns in Indian fallacies. In their testimonies before the European Parliament's Special Committee on Fairness in All Democratic Processes on January the 26th, 2021, the EU Disinfo Lab's Executive Director and Managing Director said that students were paid with suitcases full of cash in Swiss francs for half a day or full day to make statements against Pakistan at the Human Rights Council in Geneva. Media outlets were hoodwinked in a systematic manner to carry forward India's propaganda and fake news. Through this disinformation operation, India has sought to maliciously influence decision-making in key institutions and contaminate global perception and discourse vis-à-vis Pakistan. For the current RSS-BJP dispensation in New Delhi, maligning Pakistan is an article of faith. We have consistently sensitized the international community about India's fabrications, misrepresentations, and blatant lies about Pakistan and its perspectives on major issues. Pakistan has also put forth incontrovertible evidence to the UN and the EU in the form of a comprehensive dossier extensively documenting India's active planning, promoting, aiding, abetting, financing, and executing terrorist activities in Pakistan. The recent revelations by the Mumbai police regarding WhatsApp exchange between Indian journalist Arnab Goswami of the Republic TV and the Partho Dasgupta, CEO of Broadcast Audience Research Council, further substantiates India's odious designs against Pakistan. We have called upon the international community to take cognizance of India's systematic designs to damage Pakistan's image and international standing. I have written to the EU High Representative asking him to make India accountable for its deeds which have been unearthed by an independent and non-profit organization funded by the EU itself. Our ambassador in Brussels is engaged with members of the European Parliament and European institutions to sensitize them about India's nefarious designs against Pakistan, particularly by misusing the platform of the European Parliament and territories of the European member states. Our permanent representative to the UN in New York has written to the chair of the NGO committee in ECOSOC to deregister 10 fake NGOs identified in the Indian Chronicles. Our representative to the UN in Geneva has also reached out to the human rights machinery and sensitized them about the ulterior motives of India to malign Pakistan at the UN. The relevant authorities in Switzerland and Belgium have been urged to investigate the finances and transparency of the relevant NGOs registered within their jurisdiction. Indian chronicles have revealed the real face of India and its hate for Pakistan. India, the self-professed largest democracy in the world, must be held accountable for all its crimes and misdemeanors, its atrocities in the illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, its persecution of minorities, particularly Muslims, its belligerent actions against neighbors, and its attempts at mischievous manipulation of international opinion against its adversaries. We call upon the international community to stop the fascist regime of Narendra Modi from its state-sponsored terrorism and dissolution campaign against Pakistan. We shall continue to expose these bellicose actions and evil designs against Pakistan until India is held accountable for its reprehensible deeds. Thank you.